Do you consider yourself a spiritual person, or
Um,
are you just experiencing are you just here for the experience?
I consider myself, I guess, to be somewhat spiritual. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, man. It was just such a beautiful a description of, or when when you shared that experience with the deer and what it took to get there and how much work it took to feed yourselves pretty much and feed others. Um, I don't know. I think that that provides some insight, especially if you killed something with your own hands and were able to nourish yourself later with it. So, I guess with that, what are your thoughts on death and suffering?
Man, deep.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I feel like exactly like you said, we're kind of put here for a greater purpose, right? In the sense that like an animal dying is to nourish another being on this planet, right? Or we're here to serve others, right? In a sense,
Mm,
and that goes to death. Um, and at the end of the day, like nobody's gonna remember like me or you or anyone. Like it's like and even like people who have done like really amazing things, like it'll still be like a generalization almost, like, oh, the Spartans did this, or like like it's not like a person typically, and even like beyond that, like it's like even forgotten like millions and millions of years ago, like, it's just, I don't know, it just seems like it might take longer for you to be forgotten, some people, but like
hmm
eventually it goes away, and it's kind of like egotistical to think otherwise a bit.
mm,
So like at the end of the day, I think like you just want to like you said, are you like spiritual, or are you like just kind of here for the experience kind of thing?
yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's a bit of both, in the sense that like you want to create this experience for yourself, um, to help others, and like, but the same idea, like when you die, you're being used for like a greater good, to kind of progress
hmm
other beings. I feel like your life should be like that too, and death is just like an extension of that.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. I love that. Um, you know, our practice on the mat, like there's a flow state, right?
Yeah,
Um,
we all need that flow state.
we all need that flow state.
Yeah.
How would you describe it, and how do you feel like you enter a flow state?
I feel like the flow state comes when there is no intention, honestly. Like if I show up and I'm like, man, I just want to roll today, like that's when your mind shuts off and you just like let your body do what your body's going to do, right? And I don't think I necessarily get better when I enter a flow state, but I think it is just like so beneficial, especially after work. Like, dude, I just want to go and I want to freaking do jujitsu, Like, I don't want to have to think about getting hands to the mat or like any of this intention, like principle crap. I just want to go roll around with some people and do jujitsu. So, like, I think it's super beneficial, and it's one of the aspects of jujitsu I think people love. It's so easy to get into that flow
Mm-hmm.
state, especially if you've been around it for a little while, right? You're not like a
Mm-hmm.
beginner and just overwhelmed with details. You just kind of like let your body relax and let it do what it's going to do, and not overthink things. So yeah, I think there's good and bad things, right, to being in flow.